Losing everything would immediately shift focus from growth to survival and clarity. When resources disappear, priorities become painfully obvious. The first step would be calming emotions before making any decision. Clear thinking matters more than clever ideas at this stage. Starting again would mean accepting reality without denial or panic. Acceptance creates a stable base for rebuilding. Panic leads to rushed decisions that deepen losses. Stability allows patience to return slowly. The early goal would not be rapid recovery, but protection from further damage. Avoiding new mistakes matters more than fixing old ones. Every small error compounds negatively when capital is low. Protecting what remains preserves future options. Time would become the most valuable asset after loss. Time allows healing, learning, and adjustment. Rushing compresses lessons into painful outcomes. Patience stretches limited resources further. Living below means would be essential from the beginning. Reduced expenses create breathing room. Breathing room lowers emotional pressure. Lower pressure improves judgment and consistency. Simple routines would replace ambitious plans. Routines provide structure during uncertainty. Structure reduces decision fatigue. Reduced fatigue supports disciplined behavior. Cash flow awareness would guide every action. Understanding inflows and outflows restores control. Control reduces fear. Reduced fear prevents impulsive decisions. Complex strategies would be avoided completely at this stage. Complexity hides risk behind optimism. Optimism is dangerous after loss. Simplicity exposes reality clearly. Rebuilding confidence would matter as much as rebuilding capital. Confidence grows through small, consistent actions. Large bets destroy fragile confidence. Consistency restores belief slowly. The foundation would be humility rather than intelligence. Loss teaches limits clearly. Respecting limits prevents repeat mistakes. Humility keeps learning active and risk contained. Rebuilding would start with restoring personal discipline before seeking external opportunities. Discipline stabilizes behavior when confidence is low. Stable behavior prevents repeated mistakes. Consistent routines slowly rebuild trust in one's own decisions. Earning would take priority over investing in the early phase. Income restores control and flexibility. Flexibility reduces desperation. Reduced desperation improves long-term decision quality. Any investment thinking would remain extremely conservative at first. Conservatism protects fragile capital. Fragile capital cannot absorb errors. Protecting it buys time to regain stability. Avoiding comparison with others would become essential. Comparison amplifies regret and impatience. Impatience leads to poor shortcuts. Ignoring others preserves focus on personal recovery. Learning from past mistakes would be deliberate and unemotional. Emotional reflection distorts lessons. Calm review reveals patterns clearly. Clear lessons reduce the chance of repetition. The rebuilding phase would emphasize habits over outcomes. Habits create momentum without pressure. Pressure undermines consistency. Consistency supports gradual progress. Spending decisions would be reviewed regularly and honestly. Honest review exposes leaks early. Early correction prevents compounding damage. Awareness strengthens control. Debt would be approached with extreme caution. Debt reduces flexibility after loss. Reduced flexibility increases stress. Stress impairs judgment. Small wins would be valued more than dramatic progress. Small wins rebuild confidence incrementally. Incremental confidence supports patience. Patience prevents reckless behavior. The focus would remain on resilience rather than speed. Speed increases error risk. Resilience absorbs setbacks. Absorption enables recovery over time. Rebuilding would emphasize skill development that compounds over time. Skills create leverage without risking capital. Learning restores confidence through progress. Progress achieved through effort feels more stable than luck. Work would be chosen for reliability rather than excitement. Reliable work reduces income volatility. Reduced volatility lowers stress. Lower stress improves long-term judgment. Saving would begin immediately, even with small amounts. Small savings rebuild discipline. Discipline restores a sense of control. Control supports patience during recovery. A clear separation between safety money and growth capital would be established. Mixing the two creates anxiety. Anxiety encourages poor decisions. Separation protects emotional balance. Spending would remain intentionally boring and predictable. Predictability reduces surprises. Fewer surprises reduce stress. Reduced stress supports consistent rebuilding. Any early investments would be simple and understandable. Understanding reduces fear during fluctuations. Fear triggers mistakes. Simplicity prevents emotional overreaction. Rebuilding would avoid chasing losses or missed opportunities. Chasing magnifies regret. Regret distorts judgment. Acceptance allows forward movement. Time horizons would be extended deliberately. Short horizons increase pressure. Pressure encourages shortcuts. Longer horizons restore calm thinking. Progress would be measured by stability, not speed. Stability compounds quietly. Speed invites risk. Quiet progress survives setbacks. The mindset would remain focused on durability over brilliance. Brilliance fades under stress. Durability endures uncertainty. Endurance creates long-term recovery. Rebuilding would require patience with uneven progress and temporary setbacks. Recovery rarely follows a straight line. Accepting setbacks prevents discouragement. Discouragement often leads to abandoning sound plans too early. A simple financial structure would replace complex systems from the past. Complexity increases cognitive load during stress. Reduced complexity improves clarity. Clarity supports better daily decisions. Cash reserves would be rebuilt slowly and intentionally. Reserves provide psychological security. Security reduces impulsive behavior. Reduced impulses protect rebuilding efforts. The focus would remain on controllable actions rather than outcomes. Outcomes fluctuate beyond control. Actions can be repeated consistently. Consistent action builds momentum. Risk would be reassessed conservatively after experiencing loss. Loss recalibrates perception of danger. Conservative reassessment reduces overconfidence. Reduced overconfidence lowers future mistake frequency. Any return to investing would emphasize quality over opportunity. Opportunities appear attractive after loss. Quality endures stress better. Endurance protects fragile recovery capital. Learning would continue through reading, reflection, and observation. Observation reveals patterns missed during action. Reflection deepens understanding. Understanding reduces emotional reaction. Long-term goals would be simplified into near-term behaviors. Behaviors are easier to execute under stress. Execution builds confidence. Confidence supports sustained effort. The rebuilding phase would avoid unnecessary lifestyle inflation. Inflation increases fixed obligations. Obligations create pressure. Pressure undermines stability. Rebuilding would prioritize peace of mind over rapid progress. Peace supports rational decision-making. Rational decisions reduce error rates. Fewer errors accelerate recovery naturally. As stability returned, attention would shift toward rebuilding long-term trust in decision-making. Trust is damaged after major loss. Rebuilding trust requires consistency, not boldness. Consistent behavior gradually restores confidence. Spending habits would remain conservative even as income improved. Early comfort often invites old mistakes. Maintaining restraint protects progress. Progress is fragile during recovery phases. Any investments added would be few and carefully chosen. Fewer choices reduce cognitive overload. Reduced overload improves monitoring. Better monitoring lowers unpleasant surprises. The portfolio would favor resilience over excitement. Excitement tempts unnecessary risk. Resilience absorbs volatility. Absorption protects recovery capital. Periodic self-review would remain unemotional and honest. Honesty reveals weaknesses early. Early awareness enables correction. Correction prevents repeated damage. External validation would not influence decisions. Validation encourages comparison and ego. Ego reintroduces risk. Independence preserves discipline. Cash buffers would be maintained even during optimism. Optimism often precedes mistakes. Buffers reduce vulnerability. Reduced vulnerability improves sleep and judgment. Learning from others' failures would become a priority. Failure teaches more than success. Observing failure reduces blind spots. Fewer blind spots protect capital. Rebuilding would avoid shortcuts promising fast recovery. Shortcuts increase fragility. Fragility breaks under stress. Steady progress endures pressure. The mindset would remain grounded in realism. Realism prevents disappointment. Disappointment triggers impatience. Patience sustains rebuilding. As rebuilding progressed, patience would be reinforced as a daily practice rather than an abstract idea. Daily patience prevents small emotional decisions. Small decisions accumulate quietly. Accumulation shapes long-term outcomes more than occasional big choices. The focus would remain on protecting progress already made. Progress after loss is fragile. Protecting it prevents emotional setbacks. Stability supports continued forward movement. Financial decisions would be spaced out intentionally. Space reduces urgency and pressure. Reduced pressure improves clarity. Clarity lowers the risk of impulsive actions. The rebuilding process would emphasize repeatable behaviors over clever insights. Cleverness fades under stress. Repeatable behaviors endure pressure. Endurance supports steady recovery. Confidence would be rebuilt slowly through evidence, not optimism. Evidence comes from consistent results. Optimism alone creates false security. Grounded confidence supports restraint. Income growth would be welcomed cautiously. Rapid growth can reintroduce complacency. Complacency invites old habits. Caution protects recovery momentum. The return to investing would remain gradual and deliberate. Gradual entry limits exposure to mistakes. Limited exposure preserves capital. Preservation maintains emotional balance. Rebuilding would avoid unnecessary lifestyle upgrades. Upgrades increase fixed costs. Fixed costs reduce flexibility. Flexibility supports resilience during uncertainty. Decision-making would remain conservative even during favorable conditions. Favorable conditions distort perception. Distortion leads to overextension. Conservatism protects durability. The primary goal would remain freedom from financial stress. Stress impairs judgment. Clear judgment supports long-term rebuilding. Reduced stress improves life quality. As confidence slowly returned, restraint would remain more important than ambition. Ambition tends to rise faster than discipline after recovery. Restraint keeps progress intact. Intact progress compounds quietly without attracting unnecessary risk. The rebuilding journey would reinforce respect for uncertainty. Uncertainty never disappears, even with experience. Respect prevents complacency. Complacency often precedes avoidable mistakes. The portfolio, if present, would stay intentionally small. Smaller portfolios are easier to understand and manage. Understanding reduces fear during volatility. Reduced fear supports patience. Decision-making would avoid urgency even when opportunities appeared attractive. Urgency clouds judgment. Clear judgment requires time and distance. Distance reduces emotional bias. Long-term goals would remain flexible but not vague. Flexibility allows adjustment when reality changes. Vagueness creates confusion. Clear direction preserves focus. The rebuilding phase would continue to prioritize learning over proving competence. Proving competence feeds ego. Ego distorts risk perception. Learning strengthens judgment. Periods of inactivity would be treated as productive, not wasted. Inactivity allows consolidation of gains. Consolidation reduces error frequency. Fewer errors protect recovery. Simplicity would guide not only finances, but lifestyle choices. Simpler living reduces pressure. Reduced pressure improves clarity. Clarity supports better decisions. Rebuilding would reinforce the habit of reviewing assumptions regularly. Assumptions change silently over time. Regular review prevents drift. Preventing drift preserves alignment. The mindset would remain anchored in long-term thinking. Short-term distractions lose power over time. Long-term focus stabilizes behavior. Stability sustains recovery. Long-term, rebuilding would reward consistency more than intensity. Intensity fades when motivation drops. Consistency survives fatigue and doubt. Survival of effort produces reliable progress over time. Expectations would be kept deliberately modest during recovery. Modest expectations reduce disappointment. Reduced disappointment preserves motivation. Motivation supports steady action. The rebuilding process would emphasize learning from calm periods, not only crises. Calm periods reveal habits clearly. Habits determine outcomes. Refining habits improves durability. Financial simplicity would remain a non-negotiable principle. Simplicity reduces hidden risk. Hidden risk accumulates silently. Transparency protects rebuilding efforts. Patience would be reinforced through routines that remove daily temptation. Routines reduce decision fatigue. Reduced fatigue improves judgment. Judgment protects fragile progress. The focus would remain on controllable inputs rather than unpredictable results. Inputs can be improved consistently. Results fluctuate unpredictably. Consistent inputs build resilience. Any increase in complexity would be delayed until stability was proven over time. Time test systems under stress. Untested systems fail unexpectedly. Delaying complexity prevents premature failure. Rebuilding would continue to prioritize peace of mind. Peace improves sleep and perspective. Perspective improves decisions. Better decisions reduce setbacks. Long-term thinking would guide responses to both success and failure. Success invites complacency. Failure invites fear. Balanced thinking protects discipline. The rebuilding mindset would remain grounded in realism and humility. Realism prevents overconfidence. Humility keeps learning active. Learning sustains progress. Over time, rebuilding would reinforce that temperament matters more than intelligence. Intelligence cannot prevent emotional mistakes. Temperament absorbs stress and uncertainty. Absorption allows rational decisions to continue even under pressure. Long-term recovery would be judged by stability, not speed. Speed creates fragility. Stability creates endurance. Endurance allows gradual rebuilding to survive unexpected setbacks. Avoiding regret would remain a central goal. Regret often comes from rushed decisions. Slowing down reduces unnecessary action. Fewer actions reduce future regret. Preparation would replace prediction as the guiding advantage. Predictions fail during change. Preparation adapts to whatever unfolds. Adaptability protects rebuilding efforts. The ability to wait would remain the most valuable skill. Waiting reduces forced decisions. Forced decisions often cause damage. Patience protects fragile progress. As capital slowly returned, simplicity would scale naturally. Complexity increases risk as confidence grows. Risk returns quietly through complexity. Staying simple preserves clarity. Financial growth would be treated as a byproduct of correct behavior. Chasing growth distorts judgment. Correct behavior compounds quietly. Quiet compounding lasts longer than excitement. Patience with oneself would remain essential throughout recovery. Learning curves require time. Time rewards disciplined effort. Discipline restores confidence. Gradually, the rebuilding journey would remain aligned with personal life goals. External benchmarks create pressure. Pressure leads to unnecessary risk. Alignment preserves balance and clarity. If everything were lost again, the approach would remain unchanged. Protect capital, stay patient, and live simply. Quiet discipline outlasts noise and setbacks. Time favors those who endure.